we're going to take a look at multiplying polynomials. We're going to look at two strategies in order to do that. The first way is called the box method, and it's really just making a table. You're going to break down each polynomial into its terms and multiply them one by one. So I need to break this polynomial down into its terms. It's a binomial, so that means it has two terms. The two terms I have here are x and -4. This polynomial is also a binomial. It has two terms. They are 3x and +2. So you'll notice that each term gets its own row or column. Okay. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the product of 3x and x, and it's going to go in this box. So that product would be 3x squared. The product of 2 and x go in this box. The product of 3x and -4 go in this box. And lastly, we have the product of 2 and -4. Now that I've found each of these products, we're going to add them all up. Once I put them all in a nice long sum, I'm going to look for any like terms that I can combine, and I'm going to see that I have 2x and -12x. Those are like terms because they have the exact same variable with the exact same exponent. They both have an exponent of 1, so I can combine them. And my final product is going to be 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. I know that that is my final product. I've fully simplified because I have no more like terms to combine. That's the box method. The other method that you can use is called FOIL. So FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. And it's essentially just distributing one at a time. So when we say firsts, we mean the first term in both of the binomials. So I multiply the firsts, which gives me 8x squared. Then I multiply the outer pieces, so I'll have plus 2x. I multiply the inner pieces, which gives me 12x. And then I multiply the last pieces. So now I'm going to do exactly what I did before during the box method when I got to this step. I'm going to look for any like terms to combine. I have a 2x here and a 12x here. So my final product, after I simplify all my like terms, is going to be 8x squared plus 14x plus 3. A really important thing to remember when you're multiplying polynomials is that when you're multiplying two terms, you multiply the first numbers, so 2 times 4 gives me an 8, and you add the exponents when they have the same variable. So here I have x times x, that would be x squared. Here, I'm combining like terms. Both of these terms have x to the power of 1, and I'm adding them. I'm not multiplying them anymore. So to add my like terms, my variable is just along for the ride, and I add my coefficients. So 12 plus 2 gives me 14. So those are really common areas that people make those mistakes. Don't be one of those people. Let's try multiplying something larger, like a trinomial. So if we have x minus 2 times 3x squared plus 6x plus 1, we're sort of going to use FOIL. We're going to use the same kind of concept, but we're going to take things one at a time. So really what we're going to do is we're going to take the first term in our first polynomial and multiply it by the first term in our second polynomial. So x times 3x squared gives me 3x cubed. Then I multiply the same first term here by the second term here. I have x times 6x, which gives me 6x squared. Then I'm going to multiply the first term by the last term here. So that's 1 times x, which gives me x. Next, I'm going to take my second term from my first polynomial and multiply it by the first term here. Negative 2 times 3x squared gives me negative 6x squared. Then I have negative 2 times the next term, which is 6x, gives me negative 12x. Then I have negative 2 times a positive 1 is negative 2. So this is now a really big, long polynomial, and I have to look for like terms. So maybe I'm going to underline, squiggly underline, anything that's x cubed. Maybe I'll circle anything that's x squared. I'll box anything with just an x, and I'll leave anything that's a constant. So now it's really easy for me to visualize what my like terms are and where they are. I'm going to rewrite my polynomial so those are next to each other. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So 3x cubed doesn't have any like terms, so it's just hanging around. 6x squared minus 6x squared gives me nothing. So I'm going to move to the next piece. I have x, 1x minus 12x gives me negative 11x. So this is actually going to be minus 11x. And minus 2 has no other like terms, so it just stays minus 2. And this is my final product because I have no more like terms to combine.